Let me thank each and every single one of y'all for coming out, supporting bodybuilding, most of all, supporting me over these last 30 years or so. Man, how time flies. I never in a million years, first of all, thought I'd be here because the only reason why I got into bodybuilding is because the guy from the gym that I work out told me to give me a free membership if I could get it. Otherwise, I would have just been maybe 30-year police officer for the Arlington Police Department because that's where I started. So I've come a very, very, very long way. And for me, bodybuilding has always been about the passion. People used to ask me, how did I work a full-time job and do bodybuilding? I just simply tell them, I had a lot of passion for bodybuilding. But most importantly, I had a lot of working for the Arnold Police Department. A job where I could go and help as many people as possible each and every single day. A job that I love, trying my very best to make the city of Arlington the safest place in the world. And for the most part, I did pretty good because I used to make about 3-4 arrests every single day. And if I didn't make at least 2, I was having a very bad day. So for the most part, I always met my quota of at least 2 arrests a day. But the most fun I had was kicking a little ass each and every chance I got because when you're about 5'11", 300 and almost 30 pounds, I guess that's 140 kilos somewhere in there, don't too many people want to give you any problems. So I had to go and search for all the problems that I wanted to find. So every time there was an officer in need, I made sure I was the first one there. Because like I said, I was looking forward to kicking some ass each and every single day I was at work. And the reason why I started working out, when I was about 8, 9, 10 years old, growing up in a small town, Bastrop, Louisiana, probably about 15,000 people. Everywhere I went for about 2-3 years straight, people ask me, man, you pretty muscular little guy there, you work out? I'm like, no, man, I don't work out. I just eat good, a lot of fried chicken, a lot of hamburgers, a lot of hot dogs, good food. And about 3 years down the road, by the time I got about 11 years old, I got tired of saying, no, I don't work out. No, I don't work out. I'm just muscular. So, at the age of 11, my 11-year-old mind, I was like, I wonder what I really look like if I started working out. So about the age of 12, I started working out.
No.
About the age of 12 and a half, I fell in love with working out. By the age of 13, 14, I joined the powerlifting team, and I really fell in love with working out. And I've been working out each and every single day for the last, it'll be 50 years. Come May 13th, my birthday, I'll be 62. And yes, it's been a whirlwind journey that I have truly enjoyed, truly loved, and still today I look forward to going to the gym each and every single day. And I'm still going 6 days a week, probably about 2 hours a day. And it's probably going to be something that I do to the day I die. Because like I said, once you have passion for something, you never really work a day in your life. You're just having fun and enjoying it. So every time I get to the gym, I'm just having fun and enjoying it. So every time I fly to another state or another country, the first thing I look forward to is going to the gym. And my good buddy Jay can attest to that because me and him had some great workout days back in the day. I mean, we had some great workouts and everything was going real good until I got to about 500 pounds on the squat. And old Jay, every time he was clocking out.
I quit.
But up until then, Jay was doing really good. He was one of the best workout partners I've ever had in my life until I got to a certain weight. And then old Jay had enough and he was looking for the nearest dinner table or the nearest chair he could sit in and take it easy and watch me while I lifted some lightweight, baby!
Yes!
Yeah, buddy!
That was at like midnight, by the way, because we were training in the middle of the night. Ronnie stays up all night. Any of you guys that know that followed him for a long time, every time we leave, we finish training sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning, I say, Ronnie, what are you going to do? He'd go back to his room and answer all the fan mail, which is why I have so much respect for him. He was the greatest ambassador, fans, always supporting me. Truly, like, look at this crowd. Like, you guys are so packed in this place. I know what he's saying. It's amazing for us now that we've been away from the stage for so long. We have so many stories. We had the greatest rivalry you'll ever see in bodybuilding, and you know, he got me a lot of those times. You know, I got sick of being second to Ronnie Coleman. So by the time I was actually able to win,
old man.
yes, he got a little older. He got a little older, and I had to wait for that. We had a lot of fun. It was very challenging. He gave me a lot of motivation. You guys have seen my speeches over the years. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been as great as I was on stage. And you know, I appreciate, you know, that battle so many times. But man, every time I thought I was going to win, and I show up and he'd take his clothes off backstage, and I said, "Oh shit, next year."
How did you approach that, Jay, when you know you have to compete against this type of athlete, like superior, like to anyone in the gym, freaky body parts, but also deliver the condition we haven't seen since, I don't know, Dorian Yates at the time?
I mean, listen, it was his training nature. I mean, like he said it. You know, I knew I was working hard on my workouts in Vegas, and you know, he was training in the dungeon of a gym, but. You know, you have people that inspire you. You have a reason you get on stage. I mean, Ronnie said, you know, his passion in the beginning, he picked up as a young child because his physique looked good naturally. And that's where I had a lot of recognition also. I grew up working in concrete, my family business. So, you know, I always was approached by people saying, wow, well, how do you develop your body? And I didn't even work out. I just had great genetics. So when I actually started picking up weights, I said the same thing. If I start lifting weights, what are people going to say to me? We all want to have the ability to impress at certain things. And you always have people around you that encourage you to go to the gym. But you have to have the goal inside yourself. I mean, all the people in this room, there's a reason you're here. We have a passion for fitness. Now, going to the gym and training different routines, I know there's a lot of information out there, and you can watch some of our old videos, but we followed the early days of Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lee Haney or, you know, the people that came before us that inspired us to actually get into it. I mean, I think Lee Haney was someone you looked up to a lot, and I mean, I looked up to Ronnie Coleman because he was a guy that I saw in the magazines coming up, and you know, next thing I know, we're battling on stage, and it was him and I for a very long time. But even someone that's competitive with you, you have reasons to find yourself to go harder to the gym. There's a lot of days we don't feel like working out at certain times. You have to find what works best for your schedule. But I think, you know, for me, I looked at Ronnie as, wow, that's Mr. Olympia. I want that title. I'm going to drive myself to go to the gym every single day. And I knew he was working just as hard, if not harder. And obviously, I mean, one of the best physiques, if not the best of all time. And you know, that was what I look forward to every year.
Were you worried at all, Ronnie, about Jay when he's coming up? He was very popular at the time. I remember he's still very popular. He was very popular when you were at the top. Were you ever worried about Jay Cutler surpassing you?
Well, when you're on top, it's kind of hard to be worried about somebody else. I'm going to tell you who I really was worried about. The person that scared me the most was me. Because every single year, I knew the formula that it took for me to win. All I had to do was to be able to either duplicate it or become better. So every single year, I was like, okay, I beat all these guys last year. I used this formula, but what do I need to do to get better? So every single year, you know, I'm thinking of what I can do to get better. You know, it worked for about maybe 2, 3, 4 years. 5 years into it, like, God damn, what? I've done this, but everything I can do. What else can I do to get better? Well, of course, you kind of fall off a little bit, and you can't do too much else. And in 2002, I think, I lost the show after the Mr. Olympia, and somebody beat me, and I'm like, oh man, what am I going to do? Well, every year after the Olympia, I would take about 3 months off, let my body rest, take it easy, and regroup. Well, when I got beat, the only thing I can think of is, ain't no taking off this year. So in 2003, when you saw me come back, a little bit different, about 40 pounds heavier, you know. The only thing I could do was not take a break.
How did you add 40 pounds? Like, how did you do that when already at that size? Like 40 pounds?
Well, in 2001, the judges came in and said, hey, Ronnie, you're a little bit too big there. You might need to come down. So I listened to those stupid judges, and I came down a little bit. Only thing is, when I came down a little bit, I got beat. So that was the last time I listened to the judges. So instead of coming in flat, you know, and not, you know, all swole like I normally do, I just came in real flat, didn't really carve up and eat those 1,000 milligrams of carbs 3-4 times a day like I normally do. And that kind of delayed the size and had me coming in about maybe 20 to 30 pounds lighter. So next year, like I said, I'm not listening to the judges no more. I'm going to do what I want to do and do it the way I want to do it. I'm going to come in, eat those 1,000 milligrams of carbs 2 to 3 times a day, and put on some serious size. And that's exactly what I did.
Well, that was some serious size for sure. Okay, we saw a great show here yesterday. Andrew Jack looked very impressive. Who of the current guys would you like to compete against in your prime that's competing right now that you never stand next to?
I mean, I think all the guys. I think Andrew's, you know, he's obviously taller, which in our era we didn't see any really very tall guys like that. You know, I felt like we were so big at that time. It was hard for the tall guys to compete. You know, like Ronnie said, he lost to a taller guy at one point, which, you know, he didn't necessarily agree with. I think he passed from that, but I would like to compete with all of them because they always compare errors. I mean, I'd love to compete with Dorian Yates. I'd love to compete with all those guys to be able to see how you actually stacked up. They love to compare the errors, but you know, Derek Lentz was obviously Mr. Olympia. Samson was, you know, local here. He's massive. I mean, you see bodybuilding, there's different, it's different structures that people are dominant in, and I think that, I'd love to stand with all the guys. I think Andrew is the guy right now that people are looking at as, having that crazy conditioning with the detail and, the structure. We were both, wide, more muscular guys. We weren't really necessarily small and aesthetic like some of the other guys like Dexter Jackson, who came up and beat me, which I never thought would happen. So I always worked on out-muscling people. It was all about going to the gym and training. That was my true passion, was working out. I loved nothing more than the workouts. I would train twice a day, do a couple cardio sessions. We were eating 6 to 10 meals a day.
10 meals a day?
Yeah, I mean, we were eating a lot, and that was our job. We were paid to do it, and I think that's where, it's a little different today. I don't know how people structure their programs, but it was all bodybuilding. That's all I cared about, all we were paid to do. It was just about winning Olympias and Arnold Classics and really just being the best in the world.
I'm not gonna be shameful about this, and those guys, they are awesome. They are really, really, really awesome. They are really and truly off the chain, and they have some great bodies up there. They are in really good condition. They are some of the most amazing guys you're ever going to see. But I'm going to tell y'all why Dave loves to compete against those guys. It's the simple fact that, let me see, how can I clearly put this? Let's see. They were probably right before with those guys. It would be those guys right here. They in a whole different league. But Jay is one of those guys that's very special. He ain't gonna say nothing bad about nobody. And neither am I. That's why I said those guys are awesome. But they ain't Jay Cutler awesome.
You didn't ask Ronnie. What about Ronnie? Who would you like to compete with, Ronnie?
Jay Cutler. Kevin LeBron and Frank Wheeler. Because those guys are awesome and they look good. But they not Jay Cutler, good looking. Lex Wheeler, good looking. Sean Gray, Chris Camille, and the list goes a little bit on and on and on. But don't get me wrong, they look good, real good, just not our era good.
Ronnie, what do you think the reason is for that?
There's a precedent that's set by a certain guy. There's a guy that comes in and he is so awesome that everybody wants to look like that guy. The only thing is that guy is from that era. And that era is not the same as the era that we came from. Like I said, don't get me wrong, those guys are awesome and nobody in here can mess with none of those guys. But like I said, those guys are from this era. And this is a great era. It's just not the era that we came from, the era of the 90s and the early 2000s. You know, the era where it stopped around 2012. When did that thing 2013, 14, you know, somewhere in there, maybe 15, maybe 16,
17 was the
2017 and in that era, you know, it's a different era, but it's good. But it's not like great good. You know, the best thing that's ever happened to any of us is social media. Social media can make you king of the world. In the social media era, once you step on that stage, social media is gone and you up there all alone, all by yourself. And ain't no social media to rescue you. So all you got is what you bring to that stage.
Jay, I gotta say, you've always been so cool. You're always so stylish, so fresh, and as we see, you got people, kids, still looking up to you now. And how do you make it so? There's so much. What can I say? You always have something new going while you're competing, after you're competing, like reinventing yourself, doing new things. And how do you structure this? How do you make everything happen? Because you can always so much.
I think when Ronnie mentioned the social media, if the social media didn't exist, a lot of you people wouldn't necessarily be here to see what we showcase. I'm seeing a lot of young faces on there that weren't even born when Ronnie and I were doing the battles. And it amazes us every time because we do a lot of like meet and greets with this, and like I'm seeing her wearing my shirt down there, and I mean that's legendary, and a lot of people come to us and I say, how do you know about us? And I think we've been super active on the social media platforms. And that's everything. I think even though we were in an era of magazines and the magazines showcase our training and our personalities, and they do a lot of behind the scenes, which you rely on social media to learn about the person. And I think it's really great that a lot of you people get to see our personalities online and see how we are. And when you come and meet with us, our biggest goal, and this goes for Ronnie also, is you're never afraid to meet your heroes because we always take the time. I mean, if anyone goes out of their way from an era, we talk about eras, we always try to make ourselves available for the fans. That was, like I mentioned, when we would travel, he would stay up all night, and we used to handwrite fan letters until email came about, and then we'd email them, through the social media channels, anyone that's, probably hit me up on Instagram or different ways that you can get in touch with me on social media, Facebook. I always try to comment back. I take the time to do it. And I think it's just keeping up with the generations because we are here to inspire. Like Ronnie talked about, we can talk about stories all day. And like I said, it comes from the passion, but at the same time, we are trying to be relative with what everyone's dreams and passions are because we were able to do it at a high level. We have the stage to do that. Now today, you don't have to have necessarily a Mr. Olympia title to be popular. You can just showcase talents on social media. Everyone has a certain following, and we love the competitive side. Like we train to be great on the stage because we had no other reason to do what we did. It was all about the stage. Now today, like Ronnie said, you can be famous on Instagram, you can be popular on Instagram, and get recognition that way. We had to stand on the stage to do that. So I think it's really great that you have such a general audience. We appreciate all ages come to us. We just finished a meet and greet with, we were doing double pictures with people, and I mean, the parents are bringing their children now. The next generation comes and supports us. Like I said, they were witness to probably the greatest rivalry, which at the time was very frustrating for me. Honestly, I really wanted to win badly, and he was walking away with the first place prize, $100,000 USD to win the biggest title in the world. Andrew Jack 2 weeks ago won $750,000 on the Arnold Classic stage. So the money factor has changed a lot, and we did it truly with the passion. If we did it for the money, we weren't paid very well for doing it, to be honest. We truly loved it. We spent all our money on our food and traveling, and we like some cars too, Ronnie. We spent some money on some cars, but it was all about just going to the gym and training, being able to do it. And I think that's, we're staying hip to the times. I think that's, just staying reactive to everyone. And, we all both have a lot of things going on, a lot of business. We travel every single week somewhere. We try to spend as much time with our family and friends. But our time is dedicated. We're at these places for the fans, like you guys all sitting here. I still look out at this crowd and I see so many people, all the way back there, we see the cameras. Guys, we appreciate this so much.
So much. I'm gonna sum it up like this. Andrew Jack made $750,000 at one show last 2 weeks ago. He'll win $250,000 with this show 2 weeks later. So in like 2 weeks, he'll win $1 million. It took me 10 years to make $1 million. I made $110,000 8 years in a row for winning 8 Mr. Olympias. So just to sum it up, just how, popular bodybuilding got, it's all because of you guys. Like I was saying earlier, we really, really, really appreciate and love you guys for coming out and supporting the sport of bodybuilding, because without you guys, we wouldn't be nothing. I most definitely wouldn't be too much of nothing, and I most definitely wouldn't be able to bring this beautiful woman right beside me to sit next to my right. That is my lovely, and right now I just recognize Susan because the reason why I'm still here is because she does a wonderful job of taking care of me and our 8 kids. Yeah, buddy. 8 kids, Mr. Olympian. God is good, and every time you find a wonderful wife like I got right next to me, you can thank God, because without, every time you wonder where your next meal is coming from and who's cleaning the house and cooking the clothes and looking after those 8 kids. It is so good to have a lovely wife like the one sitting right next to me. So thank you, Susan. Really appreciate it. A whole lot. Yeah, buddy. A lot of y'all guys know what I'm talking about.
Jay, you touched up on social media. How do you stay out of the noise? Block I remember when you lost your title, and some people gave up on you. It was very crazy to me that they gave up so fast from him afterwards, just lost one title. I just saw a lot of sponsors leave and a lot of people were writing you off. How do you stay away from the negative things on social media and block all the noise and actually improve and come back better?
Yeah, listen, you gotta have a lot of belief in yourself, and sometimes we get caught up in, looking at things on social media, listening to the comments. You surround yourself with a lot of people. When you become super popular, you do gather quite a bit of crowd, an entourage, I would say. So if you show up at the gym, there's people that weren't there in the beginning, they weren't there in the trenches when you started off. And the truth is you have to learn how to wean that out. I mean, as your popularity rises, you're going to build more fans. But like I said, if you truly believe in yourself and you continue to push yourself every single day and not get discouraged. I mean, part about winning the championships, I had a lot of letdowns prior to getting to the top. When we started qualifying for the Mr. Olympia back in the early days, my first Mr. Olympia, I was 15 out of 16. And Ronnie was last out of 16 guys. Yeah, so we started at the back, and then I finished, the second Olympia, I finished 8th. And then I moved to second, to this guy over and over, until I won. And then of course, 1-2, lost one, came back, 1-2 more. So, I mean, I wanted to have a string. My goal was to actually win 5. So I had that on my bucket list. I didn't realize Phil Heath would come up so fast behind me, and then he won 7 after I did. So I was kind of in between like a crazy era of string of Olympias, and now you've seen lately that it seems to change hands every year or two. You know, we talk about, you know, the competition and the field of guys that's out there. But for me, I love, like I said, I love the training so much. I never got discouraged about how I placed. I can't control the judges, how they choose the winner. I always just tried to bring my best to the stage, and we all have different circumstance or variables that would sometimes, like Ronnie said, it doesn't go as planned, and you try to show up your best. And every year I would sit with my whole family after winning an Olympia and say, how can I be better for next year? It was never good enough. And that's why I had the mindset, and I use that today in my relationship and all the business that I do. I'm super driven, and that's just something inside of you. You're just born with that passion and that drive and that determination and that positive energy, that anything you do the best of your ability, and you have a certain thing that drives you inside. And listen, it helps when you have a great team around you. You know, you have your people that do care about you and support you, because bodybuilding is not only individual. It takes more. It takes a team for us to train consistent, eat the food, and you know, get the tanning done, and then, you know, the business and travel and get up on this platform and perform at our best and, you know, wow the crowd. And I think that's, you know, something for me. I just have that energy. And I think that's something that we have to build upon. Everyone has greatness inside of them, no matter what it is. You just have to find what that journey is and truly believe in it. And listen, don't be afraid to get knocked down.
Did you always have it? How did you work on it? How did you, because everyone's talking about it, you know, how do you get that drive and work on it?
Because I had a family business. We had ups and downs. I was kind of taught, you know, no matter what, work through it. Don't get discouraged. I wanted to be great at something. When I joined the gym, I realized how great I was at putting muscle on. I never thought I could ever, looking at magazines and seeing pictures of Ronnie Coleman or meeting him in person and saying he's so much bigger than I was, I never thought that would be me. And then within 2 or 3 years, you know, here I was challenging, you know, the #1 guy on the planet, and, you know, doing those battles. And, you know, you don't realize how fast things can come if you just dedicate the time and put the work in. And that's, I think, what Ronnie, you know, as much as he talks about eras and it's different, you know, without the phones in the gym and social media, like, we just went to work and we did it without cameras. You know, today I feel like to be recognized, I think that people have to post and show their accomplishments, where there was no one watching when we were in the gym training. You know, he was not joking. He was in the corner squatting 700 on a Friday night at 11:30 p.m. And I'm sitting there saying, how am I going to beat this guy if he's over there squatting at 11:30 at night? I didn't want to be there, truly, but the reason I was there is because he made me come. And I was the guy that was challenging him, and that just shows his character, because everywhere we would go, he said, okay, it's time to eat, it's time to train. So he mentored me in a way, even though I was the guy challenging him. So I think he's being humble. He was never nervous that I was going to beat him, because he actually told me, you're never going to beat me. He said I need to be reborn with genetics to beat him.
I didn't say it quite like that.
Yes, you did.
You gotta die.
It sure did.
You gotta die and be reborn again. And
That's right.
Pray for better genetics in order to beat me. See what we say?
He said I had to die and be reborn with genetics. Okay, that's what he said.
There you go. That's what I said.
But he still took me through the workouts. We ate. But the funny thing is, I never asked him, Ronnie, what are you doing, like, different, or like, what do you do to eat, to, you know, how's your training? I just watched. I was a witness to how his heavy training. And you know, like I said, Ronnie would show up, we would show up, he would fly on the plane in tights.
Yep.
And the veins would be coming out of the tights, and he'd be walking through the airport, and he's like, okay, let's go to the gym.
Yeah, buddy.
He wanted to go right to the gym, right from our plane, and you said that's what he did there. He still does the same thing. I think Arnold does the same thing, to be honest. Arnold flies there and goes to the gym too.
Ronnie, we want to know, you got so many titles, and everyone knows you're the king of bodybuilding, the greatest of all time. What means the most to you in everything you've done? Everything you've done.
What means the most to me is that I won one, because like I said, coming up, I never ever wanted to be a bodybuilder. I actually went to college, got my college degree in accounting, and thought, one day I was going to be this great accountant, because during college I made straight A's and B's the whole time I was there, and I just figured, hey, I'll just get this job in accounting, I'll be good at accounting, and that's the way I was going to do for the rest of my life. But I've come to find out that God has a plan for each and every single one of us. And one day, while I was on the job in Arlington, Texas, working for the police department, one of the guys that I worked with asked me while I was working out, and I told him, station, where it's free. No, man, there's no wasting there for you. You can come to this gym. So the next day, he takes me in the Metroplex gym, and the owner of the gym saw me, and back then I was still pretty muscular, I had 22-inch arms, and the reason why I know that is because when I was in college, one of my professors kind of like had a bet, and brought out the tape measure. They were exactly 22 inches. Well, Brian, but Brian kind of like pursued me and followed God's plan for me. He sent an angel, and Brian convinced me to compete by getting me a free membership to the gym. And about 4 or 5 days, no thanks, Brian. I'm happy being a police officer. That's what I want to be. And we finally came with, I give you a free membership to the gym if you compete in this show coming about 3 months. How to try to train as a bodybuilder, you got a diet, just everything you need to know. And lo and behold, my very first bodybuilding show, April 7, 1990, I went in and won Mr. Texas, first in overall, and I did that for about, 4 or 5 shows. In that same year, I went to the Men's Nationals, the biggest bodybuilding show in the world, and placed 3rd. And, next year I went back to the Nationals, placed 4th, but they had a universe team. You can make that universe team to win your pro card there. And lo and behold, I went to the universe and won first and got my pro card my next year in bodybuilding. And the rest is pretty much it. But you start with 22-inch arms.
We're gonna have some questions, okay? And remember, get some good questions in. Anyone has any good questions? We're gonna take your first question to Jay Cutler, okay? If we can get some good questions in. Yeah, you can come up. Yes.
What's your question?
So, first of all, I really appreciate you guys coming out here. I'm sure everyone feels the exact same. So Jay, it's something that you touched on earlier. With previously in bodybuilding, we've had lots of strings of champions winning and winning and winning, and then nowadays we've got more, life changes hands a lot more. Do you find it more exciting as a viewer, where you have those dominant champions and the rivalries and everyone's chasing an upset? Or do you find it more exciting now where going into the show, no one can really say who's going to win? Yeah.
I think if you had a steady rivalry, and I think having a new champion is definitely more exciting, and I think that's what brings a lot of appeal. And that's obviously the open division, but there's a lot of other divisions that are popular too, whether it's men's physique or classic physique. But I think having a new champion, it does bring excitement to show. I mean, for a long time, you saw Arnold wins, 7 Olympias, Lee Haney wins 8, Ronnie wins 8. I know when I lost my title and came back, there was a lot of excitement. And then obviously Phil won 7 green rivalry, so I think that was a little bit exciting. But I think having a new champion and new opportunity, new faces come in, they start following people for certain reasons, I think it is definitely more exciting.
Next one for Ronnie. You come up. What's your question?
So I just wanted to ask, what was the hardest part of your entire journey of just going through bodybuilding and obviously winning the 8 Olympias as well?
Well, for me, the hardest part was the diet. When I first got into bodybuilding, how I survived was eating for about a year and a half straight to the real tired of eating pizza. But Burger King was right next door. So I would call Burger King like, hey, y'all tired of eating hamburgers? Because I'm tired of eating pizza. Y'all want to trade? They're like, yeah. And then after a while, I got tired of eating hamburgers. Well, Kentucky Fried Chicken happened next door to Burger King. So I called Kentucky Fried Chicken, hey, y'all tired of eating fried chicken every day? Like, yeah. Y'all want to trade? Yeah. So, after a while, I got tired of eating fried chicken every single day, and Taco Bell was right next door to them. So, I just called Taco Bell, asked them the same question. Next thing you know, I'm eating Taco Bell every single day. So, the most definitely the hardest thing for me was trying to go from eating hamburgers, fried chicken, what else? Pizza every single day to bodybuilding food. That was the hardest part for me. Training was easy. That, like I said, that was my passion. I enjoyed doing that from the time I was 12 years old up until today. But the diet was most definitely the most challenging.
We're going to do 2 more questions. One for Jay. Anyone got a good question for Jay? Right here in the front with the glasses.
With my career that I've got at the moment, I find it very, very hard to actually focus on the gym very well. So I was wondering, how did you guys do it with your full-time careers that you've had?
I think you just have to have the right timing. So when I was going to college, when I started, the gym was open till 10 at night. I would train from 8 to 10 at night. I closed the gym every single night because I was so busy with school and I was working a security job at the time. I used that time. And unfortunately, that was the hardest part because there's a lot of days maybe you were tired, you were discouraged, stressed out, which can be great for the gym, but at the same time, I fit it in and made it part of my lifestyle because I loved it so much. When I get in the gym, I didn't think about all those things. And that's one thing about the gym where, yeah, we wanted to put on muscle or get leaner, but the outlet for the mind and obviously the stress factor was necessary. So I would just work around the schedule I had. I mean, it's called self-motivation. You can turn up the music, you can have training partners, you can train in gyms that have atmospheres, but if you're not there mentally, the workouts are going to be not so great.
Yeah, and the same for me. It's all about thinking. And for me, what I had to do, since I worked full-time for the police department, my thing was, how can I go home and eat every single day? How can I take a break and get a meal in each and every single day. So what I did was, you know, I got real creative since I worked for the police department, and wherever I worked, I made sure that I bid for that place. And I was able to go home and eat lunch, go home for breaks and grab a quick meal. So it's all about what Jay just said, thinking about, you know, how you're gonna make it work for you. And that's how I made it work for me, by bidding for wherever I was working, making sure that I could go home and get those meals in.
Last question for Ronnie, the last question. Who wants to give a good last question? We got one there.
Hi there. With all your experience, what's the #1 lesson you could teach like us, the younger generation?
Well, for me, when I first got into the sport of bodybuilding, I didn't know anything about it. I mean, nothing whatsoever. And the guy who got me in the sport was Brian Dobson. And Brian taught me a lot, and I learned a whole lot, but there was only so much knowledge I could get out of Brian. So what I did was, when Brian had taught me as much as he could, I went and found another guy that was a little bit more knowledgeable than him. And when I learned